it's a bit of a mystery as to where West Ham United midfielder Declan Rice is going to end up next season, because it seems like he's destined to leave West Ham United, but to go where? Arsenal were one of the favourites, but as you can see in the headline there, Miguel Delaney has reported that Newcastle United have now entered the race to sign the England international. Couple of injury doubts for Thursday's game against Brighton. Mika Richards believes that Newcastle United should be one of the teams involved in going for a relegated midfielder. Reports from Germany coming in that we have sent more scouts over to watch Dominik Szoboszlai at Leipzig. And could the Premier League be about to throw the book at Leeds United for that incident at Elland Road? Let's dive into it all. This is the Daily News. Hi everybody, I'm Paul. Welcome back to the Toon Review and the Daily News. Before we get into it, if you do enjoy today's video, guys, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. It really, really does help the channel, the more likes that we do get. And of course, if you're new and like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Come and be part of this amazing community we have on the Toon Review. On the way to 20,000 subscribers now, and you could really, really help us with that. It is free to do so. And also hit that notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or we upload any future videos. So thank you very much in advance for that. And let's dive in now. We'll start off, obviously, with the main headline news there, that Newcastle United seemingly have ended the race to sign West Ham United midfielder Declan Rice in the summer. Now, a lot of people think that Arsenal will be his preferred destination. I'm not quite so sure on that. I think Declan Rice, there's a lot of options for him going to be there in the summer. There's no doubt about that. But everybody seems to have this thing about him, oh, he wants to stay in London, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's the case. I think Declan Rice will go to a team that is positive, is really got a lot of ambition, but is mainly in the Champions League. Now, we know Arsenal are going to be in the Champions League next season. They've had a fantastic season. But Man City are also throwing their name in the hat and could offer somebody like Calvin Phillips as a little teaser for them, you know, so they're getting a midfielder back plus money. But for us, according to Delaney, sources in the Northeast have told him that Declan Rice could be available for as little as 90 million if the deal is right. Now, that would possibly mean that it would be dealt with by, let's just say, Newcastle United go in with a big chunk of cash that they're going to pay up front, rather than put it all in installments. I know FFP comes into it a lot, but Newcastle United, if they make the Champions League, have a much bigger revenue coming in, which might just enable them to go for a couple of players by paying a little bit up front. That might appeal to West Ham. Rather than have £120 million over a few years, they might now take the bait and say, look, you know, Newcastle go to them and say, right, we'll give you 50 million up front and the rest in installments. That could be exactly what Delaney's talking about there. Now, I know people will think, oh, Miguel Delaney's been all against Newcastle. Yes, the guy is the guy's a mong, to be honest. He's very anti-Newcastle United. However, he does, you know, report pretty good stuff, you know, and pretty legitimate stuff. He doesn't clickbait and things like that. He is one of the mainstream reporters that normally gets his information from the right places. So, although, you know, he's very anti-Newcastle United, I think the guy's a Burke, it's very interesting to read his report. Now, obviously, it's got to have... Newcastle have got to be in the Premier League to be able to go for Declan Rice. I think Declan Rice has made it pretty obvious that if he does move, he wants to move to a Champions League team. West Ham have said they will only sell him to a Champions League team. So if we don't make the top four, then you can rule out Declan Rice completely, because it'd be probably the next level down of player that we can attract to the club being in the Europa League. But time will tell on that. We've got three big games coming up, two of them, of course, at home. And if we get into the Champions League, then Declan Rice is the sort of player that we can attract. There's no doubt about that. We can attract him with the money. We can attract him with the facilities. It's all coming together. We can certainly attract him with the project as well. That wouldn't be a problem. And certainly people that are close to Declan Rice and know him, like the England players we've got in the Newcastle squad at the minute, and other people, can really help push that deal through. But again, it's massively exciting. So there you go. We could be in the race to sign Declan Rice. Now, we've got a couple of injury doubts ahead of the game at home to Brighton on Thursday. Jacob Murphy is one of those doubts. Now, a lot of people, including myself, were wondering where he was on Saturday because he didn't even come on as substitute. And then, of course, it was released after the game that Murphy had a slight muscle strain, so that's why he didn't come on. Now, it's expected that he's going to be in the squad again on Thursday, but whether he's able to start or not is another different kettle of fish. And I'm very disappointed because, as I said in the review show yesterday, I've kind of had it with Miggy. Nothing seems to happen on that side with him anymore. Crosses don't come in. And one thing you'll get from Jacob Murphy is crosses into the box. We've seen that in the games that he's played. He can also score goals. He's in a good vein of form at the moment. And I think, for me, personally, he's ahead of Miggy to start. That's my opinion. But let me know what you think in the comments below. The other doubt, of course, is Sean Longstaff. He's more of a serious doubt for the game, obviously, with his continued ligament problem. It'll be interesting to see what Eddie Howe actually says regarding Sean in his press conference before the game on Thursday. So we will bring you that reaction as well once he's done his press conference, whether it's tomorrow or Wednesday. But it'll be very... I'm keen to know what he says about Sean this time, whether he'll release any information regarding the ligament damage or not, or whether he just keeps things quiet like he has done most of the season, to be honest. But Sean Longstaff is also a massive doubt. Now, one guy that I do really have a lot of respect for in the punditry world is Micah Richards. I think he's brilliant on camera. He kind of makes you smile. He's got that joy to it and just says, I love what I do. I love life. And he's brilliant. He's brilliant on the Champions League show, which he does with Thierry Henry and Jamie Carragher with Kate Abdo. The American TV network have got them. And they're brilliant on there. Brilliant. So I've got a lot of time for Micah Richards. And he believes that either Liverpool or Newcastle United should make a summer move for relegated Southampton captain, of course, James Ward-Prowse. Now, we've had this discussion many times on the transfer show and on various shows that we've done over the past of what Ward-Prowse would bring to the squad. Now, if we are in the Champions League next season, we're going to need a lot of players. We're going to play a lot of games. And I've often said, what else does James Ward-Prowse bring rather than just set pieces? But then I also waffle on quite a lot of times about how poor our set pieces are. So it would be fantastic to have somebody in the squad who can actually take a corner, take a free kick, make sure it's aimed in the right place, that we haven't been doing over several months now, which is a real pain in the arse. We don't threaten from corners and we don't threaten from free kicks. One or two of them sometimes we'll get on the end of, but one or two out of 30, 40, it's not good enough, man. Simply not good enough. So the set pieces have been utter bollocks for us. So maybe Ward-Prowse would be that player that could come in and sort that out for us. But what else does he bring? Is he can he do what Willock, Joe Linton, Bruno, even Sean does? Very, very interesting to hear your comments on that. So leave them down below because I do read them all and I'm intrigued because I don't think he brings much else. And I certainly don't think Liverpool would be a good destination for him. But one thing's for certain, I think he's around 28 years old now, so he's going to want to stay in the Premier League. But would you have James Ward-Prowse at Newcastle United? Now, again, more reports coming in from the German media that we've sent more scouts to Leipzig, of course, to monitor Dominik Szoboszlai. We did him in a transfer show last week. I mentioned him in one of the other early videos as well. And I just think he would be absolutely a magnificent signing. There is no doubt about it. Leipzig, as we know, have some fantastic individual players there. They go through the Red Bull system, a lot of them, whether they play at Salzburg, move to Leipzig, etc., etc. But he's only 22-year-old, and this guy is just brilliant. It's as simple as that. He's a brilliant footballer. And the fact that German media is reporting that more... I mean, whether you want to believe German media is a different story, but it seems to be growing pace, that we are sending more and more scouts out to watch him on a regular basis. So it seems pretty, I think 80% certain that we may look at putting in a bid for this guy in the summer. It's very rare that you hear about a club, sending scouts as much as what we have sent to Leipzig to watch this guy and, of course, Haidar has been linked as well. So whether that comes to fruition or time will tell. But Szoboszlai, for me, would be a brilliant signing. And I think when we did the transfer show, a lot of people in the comments who were watching the show really agreed with that as well. So again, exciting. It really is these standard of players that we could go for if we do manage to qualify for the Champions League. It's fantastic. So Szoboszlai definitely on Newcastle United's radar still. The Premier League could possibly now be throwing the book at Leeds for that incident on Sunday, of course, Saturday lunchtime at Elland Road, when the fan somehow managed to get right up to Eddie Howe. Now, we know that it could have been a lot worse than it was. You know, the people saying he could have had a knife. He could have, physically abused Eddie. Apparently, Eddie said that what he said to him is not repeatable. Obviously, a lot of swear words used. But you've got to ask the question, how on earth does a fan get that close to the dugout? Especially in the Premier League. You see, a lot of the time, there's a lot of security around the dugout itself, where fans can sort of access the pitch. It's pretty much blocked off by a lot of security. What's worse for me is it was kind of the Newcastle security that had to get rid of him, which was disappointing. Now, people know that I don't want Leeds United to go down. I quite like Leeds United. Very much a similar club to us. Very good support most of the time. Now, a lot of Leeds fans have come out and absolutely slandered this guy, said that he's just not a Leeds United fan. A proper Leeds United fan would never do such a thing. And I agree with them. You always get numpties at every single ground you go to. Even at St James's Park, there's numpties half the time. When they've had a few drinks and they lose control of themselves, I think they're Billy Big Boots and they walk around as if they own the world. Yet, you just flicker the wrist and they're down and, on the floor crying. These guys are idiots. Now, where the Premier League go with this, I don't know. You've got that idiot on Talk Sport on Sunday morning saying, Sam Rushton, I think it was, who said that, he's trying to back out of it now on social media, but he can't back out of it because he said it. That he was confronted by Eddie Howe simply because of Saudi Arabia. I mean, what an idiotic, pathetic thing to say. It had nothing to do with Saudi Arabia. It was just an idiot fan jumping on the pitch and having a go at Eddie Howe. I don't know why the Saudi Arabia thing came about, and he's looked a bit of a bell end for saying it now, to be honest. And, that just riles people up the wrong way. It really does, because it had nothing to do with Saudi Arabia, and the comments that he made were bloody pathetic. But where does the Premier League go with it? Because something like that is a pretty serious thing, which is why the reports are that, the Premier League are going to throw the book at Leeds. Does that involve a points deduction? Does it involve a massive fine? Where do you stand on this as a Newcastle United fan? Do you think, it should be a points deduction? Because it could have been a lot more serious than it was. Thankfully, it wasn't, but we can't forget that it was a serious, serious issue. Because if he had a knife or some kind of weapon on him and attacked Eddie Howe, we could be talking about a very different thing this morning. So, I don't know. I've got a lot of time for Leeds, and I know that there's some bell-end supporters at every club. This guy clearly was. Leeds have dealt with it by, obviously his season ticket's been taken off him and he's banned from Elland Road. But this guy needs a lot more than that. But where do you think the Premier League should go on it? Let me know in the comments. But there you go. That is the daily news for today. Some very interesting stories coming out. So as usual, put your comments below and let me know what you think of all the news today. Are you excited about the possibility of Declan Rice? Szoboszlai? Would you go for James Ward-Prowse? And what do you think should happen to Leeds? But as usual, guys, if you have enjoyed today's video, as I said at the start, please do hit the thumbs up button. We need as many likes as we can to keep this channel in the search results. And also, if you're new, come and be part of a wonderful community. On the way to 20,000 subscribers, as you can see. It's free to subscribe, and also hit that notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or we upload any videos. Loads of live shows and videos coming up this week, guys, so please do stay notified, and we will catch you very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.
Come back and check out the breeze.